Okay, so story time. I have been playing tabletop RPGs for a while now, probably about 2 years, and it's mostly been an excuse to get together with friends on a weekly basis, get up to some shenanigans, kill a troll or two. No, okay, no, don't click away yet. You don't actually need to play Dungeons and Dragons to enjoy the crazy stories that come out of Dungeons and Dragons. This is mostly due to, people playing with the power of gods in a situation where there's no real life consequences. Are you still there? Good. Now let's talk about how dangerous creativity can be. This is a story from a campaign run by one of my closest friends, Jacob. He's played his fair share, and I could go on and on about the characters he's done. Actually, it's not a bad idea for a future episode. Might do that later. Anyway, but this story comes from a time that he's running the game. It's actually his first time running a game. And to his credit, he knows the rules inside and out so well that you really can't tell it's his first time running the game. But there's one thing no one can ever expect or ever teach you well enough, and that's just how chaotic players will act. You'll have an amazing story, but then everyone sort of gets sidetracked by, that sounds boring. I'm going to go this way. Now, this all started when Jacob was setting up his campaign, and I said I'd fill in whatever role needed to be filled in. Fully expecting to play tank, because usually nobody wants to play that, but instead I got to play party face. And that's when I created Morgan. Oh, Morgan. Morgan is an interesting person. He's a changeling, which is just a race, but he's also an inquisitor. Think the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
But he's the inquisitor for the goddess, Callistria, the goddess of lust, revenge, and wasps. Yep, that fits in perfectly there. So this basically means he's the sexy Spanish Inquisition. Why am I telling you this? Well, because Morgan's inventory has a few, let's call them oddities. One of those being manacles. Keep those manacles in mind, because that'll be important later, as we get onto the story of how Morgan more or less cheesed his way out of a real boss fight. But okay, let's provide a little context here. First, we're playing through the Pathfinder campaign Burnt Offerings, and it's one I've never played before, so every monster hidden around every corner is actually hidden around the corner. I don't know it's going to be there. And we're in our first dungeon, or first real dungeon crawl, after we've made it to the final boss room, where we come face to face with a demon who's just barely a foot tall. I swear it was way scarier in person. You just had to sort of be there. Yeah. Who would summon much bigger and scarier creatures to fight for her, being, having the obvious size disadvantage. However, she would also turn invisible and take swipes at us from above as she was flying around. This led to a fairly long conflict, but after we defeated the minions, Morgan had a brilliant idea. How best do you take down a demon? By challenging it to one-on-one combat, of course. It was at this point I had realized I forgot to inform the rest of the table and what my plan was, so I will recount step by step how this unfolded from the perspective of the party. So the last minion is slain, and Morgan throws his weapons to the ground and just yells out, "I don't need weapons to kill you. You're so small and powerless on your own." This gets a demon understandably upset, and just for being called out. And then Morgan says, I challenge you to a one-on-one fight. No weapons or summoning. Unless you're too scared. The demon grumbles. Aw, is that little demon a scared little baby? Well, now you're just embarrassing yourself. Come on and show everyone you're not a coward. shake my hand, and let's make the deal. The demon, not so subtly, hides a dagger behind his back and accepts. Flies over, attempting to. I'd already thrown my weapons to the ground, so it knew I was fairly unarmed. But what it didn't expect was what it did next. In one fluid motion, after rolling really highly, as I shook this demon's hand, I manacled it. So I took the round handcuff and wrapped it around this 1 foot demon's waist, tying its arms inside the manacle as I attached the other end of the manacle to myself. Now, I did this for a couple of reasons. One, the thing can fly, and that's not fair because it's just flying away, and it will just cast spells, and that's really not anything we can do about that. Number two, Morgan's not the strongest, but he's definitely stronger than this thing. And if I know where it is, it's a little bit easier to handle. Anyway, so I've manacled this demon. I think it's a quasi witch, actually, but I don't really know. It looks like a demon to me. And I then proceed to just grab the thing and beat it into the nearest wall until submission. It tries, but isn't actually strong enough to break out of the manacles. And besides, the manacles are made of iron, and I think they're weak to iron. I'm not 100% sure on that. Anyway, it couldn't struggle out, and it was just me standing there beating what is equated to be an imp into a wall. And yeah, that's took me a couple rounds of combat to be able to do that, but it worked, and everyone sort of roared in laughter as soon as they figured out what was going on, as I just kept rolling high enough to keep making it happen. Yeah, so that not only worked, but taught everybody a very important lesson. Creativity is dangerous. Anyway, I know this is a little bit different from the regular content on this channel, but if you like it, then let me know, and maybe I'll try and get other people to tell their stories in maybe a more professional manner. This is just me in my bedroom while no one else is at home. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Wishing you the best and only the best. See you later.